This year, the annual Lehman Lecture will feature freshman Congressman Adriano Espaillat of New York's 13th Congressional District. He is the nation's first formally undocumented immigrant to serve as congressman. And here to tell us more about the event and much more is Lehman College President José Cruz. President Cruz, nice to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Before we talk about the Lehman Lecture, which I know you're excited about, frankly, as a Lehman alum, I'm excited about it. I just got the opportunity to talk to you a little bit about your first year as Lehman College president. What has been most invigorating about being president at Lehman College?
There are many things. I would say that just the people in our campus, the faculty, the staffs, the students, the people I have met in the Bronx community, from our elected officials to our organizers to nonprofit employees that are doing so much to help the Bronx and surrounding communities. That's been the most invigorating part of my presidency thus far.
It's a huge community. Now, I know you were at Cal State Fullerton. Is there a comparison, similarities, or differences? Is it a whole different experience for you? Just characterize what it's been like for you.
Being part of a community of teachers, scholars, and learners, there will always be a lot of similarities between institutions of higher education. But I would say that some other similarities are around the fact that the communities are very diverse, both in Southern California as well as in the city of New York. But the inclusiveness of the community that we live in is much different. And so I feel the warmth, I feel the aspirations, I feel the need of others to help ensure that people can reach their full potential to a degree that I haven't felt before in any of the places I have lived or worked in.
You know, I was thinking about you completing your first year, and I know you had done a State of the College address not too long ago, and you talked about the importance of graduation, and you talked about the importance of completing, because nobody wants to see somebody start college and not complete, because nobody gets anything out of that. I was thinking that maybe when you get to graduation this year, you're going to be as excited, maybe even more excited than the students who are going to be in front of you.
That is very right. We are looking on June 1st, our commencement ceremony, to be the largest ever in the history of Lehman College.
Wow.
We're expecting 30.
I want to stand up and applaud for that.
Yes,
Thanks.
yes.
The crew does.
They are. So we expect approximately 3,300 students to get their degrees. And as you know, the value of the Lehman education has been widely documented. Just recently, the New York Times put out a piece that showed that Lehman College is number 4 in the country in terms of our historical ability to propel students from the lowest income brackets to the upper middle class. So we're very proud of that role that we play.
I would say you're looking across the table at somebody who embodies some of that,
Very good.
I would think. Let's talk about the Lehman Lecture. This is going to be your first one. This is really kind of a landmark moment for the college every year. Before we get into Congressman Espaillat and why it's so significant for him and why it's so appropriate, what about the lecture makes it as significant as it is?
Well, the lecture was put in place to memorialize our namesake, Herbert H. Lehman, who, as you know, was a governor of New York State, a U.S. Senator, humanitarian, an advocate, fierce advocate for the rights of immigrants and for the eradication of social injustice. And those values that he represented are embodied now in the way that Lehman College does its work. So we pause every year to do the Lehman Memorial Lecture. We identify a distinguished person that we feel embodies those principles, and we give them an opportunity to provide us some remarks that will illuminate a path forward that will help us ensure that Lehman's legacy continues forward.
And really, who more appropriate than the first Dominican congressman in the history of the United States, and also the first formally undocumented congressman, as I indicated at the top of the show. In this day and age, when that is really the center of the dialogue, what could be more appropriate?
That is right. I sent a campus email message a few months ago, right after the first travel ban was put in place. And I mentioned there that I had struggled to figure out how to communicate a welcome to spring 2017 message to the campus, given all the turmoil that we were experiencing. And it just so happens that that same day when we had all this activism across airports across the country, I was invited to Espaillat's swearing-in ceremony here in the Bronx.
I'm sure the light bulb lit, right?
Right, and there you could see that even with all this turmoil that we're facing, the fact that people of all walks of life were there, the fact that they knew that they had now a former undocumented immigrant serving on the Foreign Affairs Committee, that was reason for celebration because we knew that we would have a voice in Congress that would make sure that these attacks could be somehow defended against. And so, as you suggested, it's the right person at the right time to help ensure that Herbert H. Lehman's legacy moves forward.
You know, I attended Lehman, I'll give a personal note here, I attended Lehman during really a different era. It was in the early 70s, not to give my age away or anything like that. And it was a different climate. But the one thing I remember, and I still, and folks who have watched me on TV know that I still take to heart, is that there's an edge, there's a point of view. And I learned that from, frankly, being an English major at Lehman College. Talk to me about what you expect from Congressman Espaillat and how that fits in Lehman's mission, in Lehman's history, and Lehman's legacy.
So the title of Congressman Espaillat's talk will be Fighting for the America That I Know. And so it's the America that he knows from the perspective of someone that came from another country as an immigrant and was able to aspire to something bigger and was given the support and the conditions to be able to fulfill his full potential. And so I think that will resonate broadly with our campus community because that's what we're about. We're about expanding opportunity. We're about eradicating social injustice, eliminating achievement gaps among groups of students and people. So I believe that his message will resonate and will be an inspiration as we head into the second part of our semester here at Lehman College.
It's always interesting to me how you know, things seem to stitch together. So we talk about the diversity of the campus. We talked about kind of you know, the desire for social justice, and now we have somebody who embodies really that very you know, value. You made a really strong point, you addressed it at the beginning of this, about completion and about people who graduate. Talk to me about why you have so many people who have graduated this time and your own objective to increase that number and those numbers as you go on in your tenure here at Lehman.
I think that Lehman College over the last few years has really focused on being very intentional about providing the support students need to complete and to complete in a timely manner. And so we're seeing that our graduation rates are going up because of these supports. But also we have to understand that our students, their own aspirations, their own motivations have also played a big part as they come to realize that a degree from Lehman is not only something good to have, but also necessary to have if you want to not only embark in a career and also have a good civic engagement part of your life there. So I think it's a combination of the students doing more and the institution stepping up. And so what we'd like to do now is recognizing the value of the education that Lehman provides is to commit that by the year 2030, we will double the number of high quality degrees and credentials that we produce. And if we do that, we will have 90,000 more students and citizens serving the Bronx and communities that will have the value of a Lehman education.
As a Bronxite, as an American, I can't find, and certainly as a Lehman graduate and alum, I couldn't think of anything more exciting. So let's invite people formally. When and where is the Lehman Lecture? And anybody can attend, right?
Anybody can attend. The Lehman Lecture is this Friday at 11 a.m. in the Lovinger Theater. You can go on our website, lehman.cuny.edu, and you will find information about how to RSVP. And come join us in this celebration.
President Cruz of Lehman College, thank you so much for joining us this morning. It's a pleasure to have you, and I think I speak for everybody at BronxNet. Don't be a stranger. We want you here. This, of course, we're located here on your campus, on our campus, and we really want to have you back in any number of formats that make sense.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Folks, we'll have to take a quick break, but we will be right back with more Open right after this.